Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got our guest co-host Lauren LaRosa with us, and we got a special guest in the building. Brother's name is Keith Lee. Welcome, brother.
Pleasure to be here.
How you doing, feeling? Black man?
I can't complain, man. Blessed and highly favored.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
For people that don't know who you are, you've been going viral the last couple of months and years because you're a food critic.
Absolutely.
But you're a food critic the hood way. Like, you pull up to the spot and you eat it in the car. Pause.
I wouldn't say the hood way. I just eat food. I critique everything. And it's not even from a critiquing standpoint. It's just I experience everything. So at first, I will go in and I will eat food and I will experience the whole thing, like sitting down in restaurants. But I've always had social anxiety, so I've never been really big on sitting down and like sitting and talking to people really. So I'm getting a lot better being around my family and being around the situations that I'm in. But really, my family goes in and they get the customer service experience for me now. Because nowadays, if I go in, I get 30 bags of food. And I get an experience that's not authentic. Mm-hmm. And if I go in and I say, hey, the customer service was amazing or the food was amazing, it's only because I had 15 million followers. It's not because the food was actually amazing or the customer service, you're going to get the same customer service experience. So I want the same customer service experience my mom going to get if she go in the next day.
Oh, that's interesting. You said that, that you being the food critic, you don't get an authentic experience. So
Absolutely
they might front now.
Oh, it's immediate. It ain't no might. It's immediate. Yeah, it's
people
immediate.
online be knowing where you're going to. Like when they see you in a city, they send out an alert on Twitter. They'll be like, "Oh, Keith Lee is in New York."
Yeah.
Keith Lee, because then it's like, okay, people got to tighten up.
A lot of people ask me why I do that. So the reason I put out an alert before I go to a city
for
is
free food.
I pay for everything.
He doesn't go in himself. He sends
people.
people.
He just said that.
Yeah,
okay, so give a little backstory because I know a lot of people aren't familiar with what I'm blessed enough to do. So I go to restaurants and I'm a marketing platform for absolutely free to these restaurants that don't have marketing platforms, but they have great food and great customer service. So I go in and I go to small mom and pop shops. I go to places who might have just opened, or I go to places that have, like I said, great food and great customer service, but people don't know about them because they aren't either on social media or they don't do a great job of word of mouth. Because a lot of these places are either ran by older people who aren't on social media or people who've put they all into making the resources that they have work and not have time to actually go out and outsource marketing. And a lot of people who are on social media or are food influencers, they charge. So I don't consider myself a food influencer. I don't consider myself an influencer, a celebrity, or anybody. I'm just a vessel of God, and I just do what I feel like I'm supposed to do. And that comes with eating food.
You was an MMA fighter too, right?
Professional, yep.
Wow. What was your record?
8 years. 9-5 as a professional, 4-0 as amateur.
So how did you go from MMA fighter to the food critic?
So I've always been really big into food. As an MMA fighter, food is one of the most important things because you got to lose a lot of weight. I fought at 135, but I always weighed around 165 to 170. So really cutting from 170 to 135 is 90% diet and 10% dedication. So it's really, I've always had a passion for food and cooking and really being focused on the food aspect. So it just, honestly, it's just God, man. One thing led into another. I started doing TikTok just to get over my social anxiety so I can do interviews for MMA. And then by the time you know it, I'm here.
How do you rate when you go to a lot of these restaurants and spots? Because, as I was saying earlier, a lot of times when you go to a restaurant, it is the experience, right? It's when you go to the South, you usually get a warming feeling from people. New York is a lot colder.
Very cold.
Very cold when you go to those restaurants.
For sure.
So how do you rate a restaurant on experience based on that?
So really it's based on, like I said, experience from traveling the world and being able to do that through fighting. I've took that experience that I've had from that into the actual food world. So most of the time it's either based on the customer service, the food, or the overall experience itself. So if, let's say I go into a restaurant, again, this is why I don't go in by myself, because if I go into a restaurant, I walk out with, like I said, 35 bags of free food, and that's never been my MO. My MO is to help restaurants and to help people and to be a blessing that I feel like I've been called to be. But in order to rate sufficiently, I get the food in front of me. I eat it like everybody else. I give my opinion like everybody else, and I make sure I pre-emphasize that this is my opinion and these are my taste buds. I just taste food, bro. That's really what it boils down to be. But I'm blessed enough to where if I go in like a restaurant or if I actually am super fond of a dish, it might be a 4 to 5 hour wait time. And we've been able to do it in Houston. We've been able to do it in Detroit. We've been able to do it in Miami. We've been able to do it here. We've been able to do it in Vegas. New Orleans. So we just been blessed enough to go to places, and once we leave, we might leave like I said, a 5 hour wait time, 6 hour wait time to places who haven't been blessed enough to have that experience or that exposure.
The location called I think it's the Puttery, right? Is that how you say it? They had to close down and get themselves together to reopen because of all the business you brought there.
Absolutely. Within the span, so all of this really started for me in January last year. So within a span of a year, we've been able to raise over $40,000 for a restaurant owner who has cancer in less than 24 hours. We've been able to raise $50,000 for a food truck owner in less than 24 hours. We've been able to keep thousands of, I would say thousands, hundreds of doors open from restaurants who would email me and say, hey, we about to close tomorrow or we about to close in the next few days because we don't have the marketing and nobody knows about us. And then within 24-hour span, like I said, it's a line around the corner. And I don't take anything on the back end. I don't take any money. I don't take any endorsement deals from these small companies. I don't take anything from them. What I get out of it is knowing that whatever I put in the world, I get back.
Yeah, as soon as you do that, your word is done. As soon as people realize, like, oh, somebody paid him or somebody gave him something, your word is done. All of this is over.
Yeah.
What was the first one that went really, really big for you?
It was a place called Frankenstein's Pizzeria in Las Vegas. They emailed me and they basically said, hey, we about to close the doors because same thing. We don't have the marketing. Nobody knows about us, but the food is amazing. And my dad is the owner, and his name is Frank, and he put all his money into this business, but he's afraid that his business is about to close. We just want you to come. We don't want you to do a review or anything. We just want you to come and eat the food. I met Frank the second I walked in. He had no idea who I was, and he just was one of the nicest men I've ever met. He gave me a free Gatorade. He tried to give me a free Gatorade. I turned it down. He tried to give me free food. I turned it down, and I just took the food. I ate it. I recorded it, and then within less than 12 hours, they went from having 2 customers a day to being around the corner. And to this day, they have a section for luggage to where you come straight off the plane. You put your luggage because so many people come straight off the plane.
Wow.
And where you from?
I'm originally from Detroit, but I live in Vegas.
You're from Detroit. Okay. So you've been in all these different places, right? So you said New York is cold. So when you say New York is cold, explain to people when you get service in New York compared to service in Detroit, compared to service in the South.
Culture is different. The people are different. When I walked in, you asked me, or you said that I'm a ghetto food critic. So it's like that alone embodies what New York is.
That's New York.
That alone embodies what New York is. So it's like New York is cold. They play with you a lot. But I got thick skin. So it's like what you say to me don't bother me. I just don't like when places or people go to these small restaurants and they get that energy that
ghetto,
you gave me.
I didn't say ghetto. But you're a food critic the hood way. Like you pull up to the spot and you eat it in the car. Pause.
It's the same thing. That energy that you gave me when they give it to small restaurants, that's what I don't like. But when you give it to me, I don't mind.
No, it's not the same because I'm from the hood, but I'm not ghetto. I'm from Queens, but I call that the hood, but it's not ghetto.
Nigga, you are so ghetto.
I'm not.
You think you not ghetto.
I'm not.
You one of the most ghettoest niggas we ever met in our lives.
I'm not.
You got a t-shirt on?
You got
a t-shirt on?
Huh?
You got a t-shirt on right now?
He got a white beater.
White beater.
He got a white beater on, but he said he's not ghetto. It's 20 degrees outside and it's raining.
Okay.
I
got a
I'm not
jacket.
even paying him no attention.
I got a jacket.
Okay.
Now, you also went
His hoodie
viral.
ain't got no strings on it.
I'm not gonna hold you. I didn't from TikTok. I don't know if I would pick up on like your actual personality because you're so monotone, but you're not like that in person.
I'm the same. I feel like I am who I say I am. It's just that when I'm in front of the camera and I can just chill and it's myself, then you just get me eating food. But that's one thing about the internet. I'm always me, but you don't really know me because I don't really talk much.
Right.
And I only did this because I wanted to do this. I don't have the traditional way of marketing or going out and pushing myself because my goal isn't to push myself. My goal is to push these small restaurants and do what I feel like I'm called to do. I only did this as a scratch off the bucket list because I've always wanted to do this.
What you said earlier about not going into the establishment yourself, that's why you didn't go in the candy restaurant, right? Because why? They wanted to give you preferential treatment?
So they personally invited me. So when we were at the music fest, one of her team members or somebody who was associated with her walked up to me and was like, hey, we've been inviting you for the last week. We've been DMing you. We've been emailing you. Can you please just come get the food to try? And I knew if I was to walk in, again, the same experience that somebody with less followers than me or somebody with no followers wouldn't get the same experience. And I'm a person at the end of the day. I'm a normal person. I'm not, I'm not a celebrity. And I the way I think about it, if we were to get dropped off in a foreign country or a random country and they had no idea who anybody was, we'd all be picking the same or doing the same things. We would all be the same on the same playing field. So that's how I live my life. So they literally asked me. I went and I knew if I walked in, it would be completely different. So I sent my family in as always. And they immediately told them like, hey, it's a 2-hour to 2.5 hour wait time. So I was like, okay, if we gonna wait, we gonna just sit and wait like everybody else. That's one thing. I never skip lines. I'm a normal person. But I sat in the car. I waited for them to go in. They came back, and it was like a 2-hour wait time. I was like, okay, let me go in and see if it's going to be different if I go in. Because my experience throughout Atlanta throughout that whole time was if I go in, I get literally 5-minute wait times, 2-minute wait times. And it's like in Atlanta, I think it's different because it really takes status to be able to eat or to be able to do anything out there. So me walking in, immediately she was like, oh, yeah, you can come sit down. And I was like, well, you just told my family it's a 2-hour wait time. And she was like, oh, well, I called a bunch of people and they didn't come and pick up the reservation. So that's why we're on a first come, first serve basis now. But a few minutes ago, you weren't on a first come, first serve basis. So it was just things like that made me highlight it and made me turn around and go sit in the car.
How many people in your family, though? Like, how many people is it?
I can't tell you all of that.
Because sometimes
it's a lot of us. So
that's what I mean.
But I don't want to blow the cover of nobody because it only works if nobody knows who we are.
Because just to be fair, if 8 people walk in, I might not be able to accommodate.
Oh, of course not. No,
we asked for walks in, I might
we asked for a 5-person table. Well, my family asked for a 5-person table. I came and asked for a 7-person table, and they gave it to me in 2 minutes.
Yikes!
But you know, when most restaurants have celebrities, they give them preferred
Absolutely.
treatment
which I
because
understand.
of. They feel like a celebrity's going to post it.
Which
People
I understand.
see celebrities
Absolutely.
and they'll want to come to the restaurant even more.
But that's why I only go to places that I'm invited to. Because if you invite me, you're inviting me on the pretenses that you know what it is. You know what it is that I do. So if I go into a spot and you automatically know that I don't want preferential treatment because I want to get the same experience that everybody else gets, then once you give it to me, it shows that you didn't invite me for me. You invited me for the opportunity. You didn't look at me as a person. You only looked at me as an opportunity.
So you only go where you're invited. You only go to the restaurant.
Absolutely.
So like if you're in New York and then, let's say Lauren or myself say, yo, this restaurant is dope. You don't go to those. You only go where it's invited.
New York is different because I feel like a lot of restaurant owners out here have an ego. Out here, nobody invites anybody. So it's like everything out here is word of mouth. So the way I've been playing it out here is I've only go to places that I've been recommended to over 30 times. So if
Cut Your Slices got recommended to you 1,000 times. I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's like if I can have a backbone to, because what I don't want is I go and get my opinion and the restaurant immediately like, oh, we didn't ask him to come here. He just gave his unsolicited opinion, or nobody asked for that.
Isn't that the best thing? Like, because I think a lot of people look at you as when I come to a city, let me see what Keith Lee says is good, and I'm gonna go there. You know what I mean? Because I can trust in his opinion. You know what I mean?
But if I don't personally like it, then the human reaction is to be deflective, or the human reaction is to immediately be like, nobody asked him to come here. But if you ask me to come here and I give you my opinion, once you do something like when we was in Atlanta, the Real Milk Honey, they asked me to come, or I got tagged 1,000 times to come, and then the second I made the video, the owner went online and was like, who is Keith Lee? But one of their main I don't know exactly what their role at the company was, but one of the main people in their restaurant, once I walked in and they told me it was a 5-minute wait, I walked back out, they chased me to my car and tried to give me service. So it's like, how you don't know who I am?
But either way, your review stands harder than that deflection because people still
I'm a
care
person
about
at the
what
end
you're
of the day.
saying.
I'm a customer at the end of the day. That's why when you said I get free food, I made sure I made it clear I pay for everything. So it's like I'm a customer at the end of the day. Regardless if you think that I'm somebody or if you think I have a status, I'm a customer and I pay my money and I want the experience that everybody else wants.
If you give a negative review on a restaurant, do you ever go back and be like, because sometimes a chef might have a bad day or a staff might have a bad day. People are people.
And I always say that.
Do you ever go back and say, we'll try this again, or once it's a wrap?
It depends on the circumstance, and it also depends on. Now we're on tour, so we're on tour. We're going around to different cities. I'm only here for a certain amount of days, so it's almost impossible to go and track back. But when I was back in Vegas, I would go back because I would have time to go back. And eventually I plan on going back to different cities or going back to different spots. And then some spots I won't go back to.
Is Cuts and Slices not amazing?
It is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You had it?
What?
Have you had it?
No, not yet.
I haven't had it.
No?
Not yet. I've heard
It's
of
crazy.
it, though. I've heard of it a lot.
It's crazy.
I've had it personally. I've had it catered. When I did the Daily Show, I had it catered because it's really just that good. Which slices did you have?
I had the curry oxtail. I had the chicken and waffles, and then I had a bunch of. I think I had 6 of them, but the curry oxtail was the one that stood out to me the most.
Yeah.
The chili oxtail, I think it was.
Now Chad Ochocinco, he said that.
Here we go.
He said that you hurt our people's business with your reviews. Have y'all spoken?
I made a response video, but we haven't spoke directly. I saw his response to my response, and I appreciated it. But I also think a lot of it was based on misinformation, and a lot of it was based on, like I said, when I walked in, you had no idea what I do. So I get that and people make opinions based on that, and they only see like one or two headlines and say, oh, he gave a negative review to Candy's restaurant, he must be doing bad for business. But they haven't seen the amazing things we've been blessed enough to do. And I think that just was the case with Chad. And once I broke it down, I think he was able to understand where I was coming from.
Yeah, I mean, because the reality is, the reason you have the following you do is because you are clearly impactful for people's business, whether it's positive or negative.
Or negative, yeah.
So you have that's what being a critic is.
I think that gets lost. Yeah, I think that gets lost.
But I think it's dope because a lot of times we go to these places and we don't know where to go to eat, right? And because we haven't tried the food or we just heard it, in reviews online, or most of them are fake a lot of times because these people do it themselves. So the fact that you got somebody that can go to the restaurant, the only thing that ever bothers me is some people don't like Caribbean food. Some people don't like spicy food.
Yeah.
Some people don't like this. So if you're not into that, and I am, that can skew you a different way. But I think it's dope because you get an effect of people from the real, right? And that's my point. You don't really have too many people that do it that you can really say, nah, he's like me. I'm gonna try that food. You know what I mean?
I always pre-emphasize. I want everybody that wants to go try it to go try it, no matter what the food is. Like I want everybody. I don't want anybody's taste buds to be the end all be all. And I think that's what we lost on social media is that when people put their opinions out, it's like, this is my opinion and you got to take it for the end all be all. And I feel like I always try to pre-emphasize that this is my opinion. This is the way I taste. And if you want to go try it or if you think differently than me, absolutely go try it.
Question. You said you walked out after a 5-minute wait time.
Yeah.
That's too much for you?
No. It wasn't the wait time. It was the fact that my family had just got a different result.
He said it was a 2-hour wait time for his family.
Yeah, that was the issue. It wasn't I was willing to wait in the 2 hours. So that's one thing I want to make very clear. I'm willing to wait in the 3-hour wait times, the 4-hour wait times. I just want the same service that everybody else gets.
Have you ever got threatened? I'm sure owner had to threaten if you put a bad review.
In Atlanta, they
got a lot of threats
supposedly gave us death threats once we left Atlanta, but I'm covered by God, man. I ain't worried about nobody.
That and you're an MMA ex-fighter, so you could have somebody right up.
Yeah, I ain't worried about nobody.
Do you post review, like if you hate everything about the restaurant, the food, the service, everything, do you post those type of reviews?
Constructively, yeah. Okay. But I've been blessed enough to where I haven't really ran into that many spots like that. But yeah, absolutely constructively, because again, if I only gave positive reviews, or if I only gave out the good, then it wouldn't hold any weight. It only holds weight if you know I'm being honest, regardless if you agree with my taste buds, if you don't agree with them. It only holds weight if you know I'm authentically being myself. And I can only look at myself in the mirror knowing I'm authentically being me.
What food don't you do? Is there any food that you don't do? I don't like Charlamagne.
I'm only allergic to shellfish. Everything else, I'm open book. Yeah. My wife does.
I feel for you.
When I can't have shellfish, my wife does the reviews for me. So like crab legs, shrimp, and all of that.
Oh my gosh! So you've never had that? You've always been allergic?
I've always been allergic since birth. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And, to be honest with you, shellfish don't look that good either.
No, it is.
Is it?
This is my review. It's amazing.
Understood.
That's your review.
Understood.
Now let's talk about this. You went in and got some chopped cheese.
Yeah, here we go.
They was mad at you.
They were mad at you.
What made you go to Queens?
One of the people came in here was like, he went to Queens to get a chopped cheese.
Like, how do you even pick that when you go into places like New York? Because each borough is its own place.
So I didn't pick anything. I got it suggested. So any place that I go to, again, if it's not directly by the owner themselves, it's suggested 1,000 times. So I always show the DMs or the emails that I get directly from whoever tells me to go. New York is a very hard market to do anything new.
Yep.
The second you try to break any tradition out here, it's a wrap.
What did you try to break?
That's why the music
I didn't try to break it.
I didn't try to break it.
They tried to break it because it's a black-owned business that just opened not too long ago, and they have a salmon chopped cheese that they were trying to break into the market. But instead of it being open or welcome with like, oh, they trying something new, is immediately like, we don't do that over here. What are you doing? And it got turned towards me, which again, I don't mind. I just didn't want that restaurant to be tore down, which unfortunately is being tore down because they trying to do something different.
Was it good?
It was decent. But again, I don't really like chopped cheese like that. It's cool, but I don't get I think it's based in nostalgia. I think it's wrapped in nostalgia. I think it's wrapped in the fact that you ate it growing up, or you ate it in places where you had memories tied to it, like leaving a club, leaving family functions, leaving places. Like all of that has to be tied to it in order to hit
chopped cheese
the way
is not
it
amazing.
hits.
It's when you leave
it's
the club
bread,
and you're
hamburger,
hungry
and
you're drunk and you're high and you just need something to get you over. Only the bodegas
I believe
is
it's attached to memories, and I feel like since I don't have those memories, I don't get the same experience. Which again, I understand, but I feel like it's just one of those things. Again, it's wrapped in nostalgia, and people won't get out of that nostalgia. They just immediately see an outsider, and then New York is one of those places that have like real strong patriotism to their city. So it's like, if you from New York, you from New York, and you don't want nobody outside of New York coming in and giving their opinion. But again, I'm covered by God. I go everywhere I'm supposed to go.
What about Detroit? What was your favorite spot in Detroit?
Coney is number one, obviously, but it's a food hall that just opened. It's a black-owned food hall, and they have over 20 different black-owned restaurants in there, and we went, and it was amazing.
Atlanta?
Every spot in there?
Every spot wasn't amazing, but a lot of spots were. Yeah.
Do you actually cook yourself, like
I
just
do,
at home?
I do.
Like,
so that's how I started. That's how I originally started. Like I said, to get over my social anxiety, I would just turn the camera on and I would talk like it was 300 people in front of me. But my wife was pregnant at the time. So at first it started with me going to get her pregnancy cravings. And then it turned into me cooking. Because again, fighting and cooking is synonymous. So I literally would cook for myself four times a day, and I would cook for my wife 4 times a day. And that's how it started. And I did that for like a year straight. And within that year or 2 years it took me to get to $1 million, it took me less than 9 months to get to 15 million.
Wow. Do you step outside the box? Like I know Charlamagne's talking about eating deer before, or a raccoon, or things like that, or bear. Do you go to
I never ate no raccoon.
I about to say you like coon?
Damn.
I know you from. I about to say I know you from the South. You like coon?
I ate deer and bear shoulder. I ain't never ate no raccoon.
Hey, I ain't never ate no
Raccoon
raccoon.
is a thing.
I ate bear. But have you stepped out the box to eat those type of things?
I haven't. I
Will
would.
you?
I would. Yeah, I wouldn't eat bear shoulder. What bear shoulder tastes like?
Oh, that shit was great. It just tastes like beef. I had it in West Virginia. Actually, when I went to West Virginia, everything I ate, they either hunted or grew themselves. So we had bear shoulder, deer hash, and squirrel dumplings.
Understood. Yeah.
You ever try any of those?
I would. Would I say I would like it? I don't know. Absolutely.
Do you ever get sick from eating food? Like all the food?
I don't get sick, but
so much.
I don't get sick, but sometimes my stomach do be a little. But again, it comes with the job. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm thankful that I'm not getting punched in the face for a living and trying to make ends meet.
Facts.
This time last year, I was literally on food stamps, trying to figure out where my next meal was gonna come from. So to be here now, again, I don't do many media interviews. I don't do many like speaking engagements to boost who I am, because I truly believe whatever's meant for me is gonna be for me. I just do things like this because, again, it's a check off the bucket list, and I just want to show my kids later, like, whatever you put your mind to, you can absolutely do it.
So you just been a food critic for like the past year?
9 months. 10 months.
9 months. Okay.
10 months.
Wow. Just last year you was on food
months.
stamps. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
That's another thing you could do. Showing people who are on food stamps, what meals they could be eating now. Like my homegirl, Colleen Witt, she has a podcast called Eating While Broke. And basically she brings people on to talk about, affordable meals that you can create on a budget.
I just do what I feel like I'm supposed to do. I didn't write this out. I didn't plan this out. I didn't write this out. If you would have asked me at the beginning of the year would I be here, I'd look at you and laugh. So
what's the future like for Keith Lee? What do you want?
Whatever it's supposed to be. I'm gonna be everywhere I'm supposed to be.
That's what
I believe I'm gonna walk in every room I'm supposed to be in. And so the reason we went on tour directly is because a lot of TV companies, every TV producer you can think of reached out to us in March, and they were planning out shows and they were putting out shows, but it was very cookie cutter. It was really like, we already had the show planned, but we just want to make you the host of it. And they kept referencing Diners, Drive-In, and Dash. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
They kept referencing that, and they were basically like, we just want to make you the host of this show that's already created, and I don't like that. My family moves with me everywhere, so I want to make sure my family is involved in anything that I do. So I took it upon me and my family, and we just hit the road on our own. And we went out to show these TV producers and these TV companies and everybody else that we blessed enough for this to work, and it can work in every market. So we just going and we doing it on our own. So by the time we go back to these companies, we already have concrete evidence and concrete facts of how many businesses we've been blessed enough to help with the system that we have. Right. So by the time we get there, ain't no changing up.
Are you filming right now? Okay.
I would love to see that, because you think about it. I can think of Guy Fieri, if I'm pronouncing his last name right. Anthony Bourdain.
We ain't got many that look like me.
Not at all. Not at all.
I got
Your
tattoos
reach is
everywhere.
crazy.
I got dread. I got locks.
That's right.
I'm a black man. I got a black wife. I got black children. So it's like, I feel like that's very important.
What do you think of Darius Cooks? You know?
I don't think of nobody.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think of nobody.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, God is amazing.
God
is amazing. I don't think of nobody.
Keith, we got to run to the rumors, but we appreciate you for joining us. And again, I don't want you to feel like I was belittling you by saying hood. No. What I was saying was,
he's not going to grab you after, man. Relax. Okay?
You might end up in a crippled crossface. Because I want to explain it, because I don't ever want somebody to think I'm belittling him. What I was saying was,
you ain't told Tyrese that.
I was doing it to Tyrese.
If you got a
but
restaurant
I was saying, No, I don't have a restaurant coming, but I was saying is I love the fact that you go to restaurants that we go to. I don't see a lot of people critiquing the restaurants that we go to.
And the restaurants we go to ain't ghetto.
No, I didn't say they were ghetto. You stop saying ghetto. I said the reason I said
that.
I did not say ghetto.
Yes, you did.
Ghetto didn't come in my word. I said
You said hood.
I love the
Ghetto
fact
didn't come out my word.
that the restaurant. No, I said hood. I said the restaurants that we come is in my hood. When I talk about Queens, that's my hood. When I talk about Brooklyn, those are my hoods. I don't mean ghetto, but the fact that is. You see somebody do a critique of Tal. You'll see somebody do a critique of Carbones. But when it comes to a taste of seafood or when it comes to cuts and slices, you never see that. And I love to see my own people doing it. That's what I meant by that. And I didn't mean to belittle you if you felt that way. I apologize. But I was trying to be no disrespect.
I appreciate
No, I'm
it.
being honest.
He didn't mean to call you hood. Charlamagne didn't mean to be on his phone. It's love in
Charlamagne
this
for
room.
sure meant to be on his
You might not
phone.
feel it, but it's love in this room.
I hear you.
You know?
No, Charlamagne for sure
I'm
meant to be
trying
on
to
his
be real
phone.
with the brother and y'all make a joke because I love it.
I'm glad you had that direct that you
like
though.
wrestling after
I
this.
love that for you.
Of course.
Keith
And
Lee,
I
thank
think
you
it's
for joining
fire.
us.
Tell them how to follow you,
I
Keith Lee.
appreciate you. On all social media platforms, Keith_Lee. We just dropped merch. And this is one thing that's really big for me. We just dropped merch, and my family and myself created it. My cousin created it for us, and a bunch of companies we was going back and forth because they really wanted us to charge the highest because it's a really high quality. They wanted me to charge $180 to $190 for our hoodies. We charging $75. They wanted us to charge $120, $130 for our t-shirts. We charging $45 because the profit isn't the main goal for me. The main goal is to have people who follow me and people who support me to be in stuff that I am proud of and stuff that I will wear. And I just walk in my purpose, and I'm just appreciative to be here.
Well, you should give me one for free so I can critique it and see if the fabric
He
is,
don't get nothing for free, so you need to buy it.
God bless y'all. I appreciate y'all having me.
It's the Breakfast Club with Keith Lee, y'all.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.